there is better out there. Like there is a place for you. And I get staying somewhere because you have to, right? We all have to do things for a family to pay our bills. And I have a lot of respect for that, hands down. But if you get that opportunity, take it.
Welcome to Vibecast, the podcast that dives deep into the heartbeat of workplace culture. I'm your host, Kristi. Join me in conversations with extraordinary leaders as we unravel their experiences, both positive and negative, that have impacted workplace culture. This podcast is more than storytelling. It's about actionable insights. Are you ready to transform the vibe at your workplace? Let's go. Today's guest is someone who brings a powerful mix of expertise, heart, and straight shooting honesty to the world of accounting and finance consulting. Jen McCasland. As the founder of DisruptiX Talent Solutions, Jen is on a mission to connect businesses with top-tier accounting and finance consultants for critical project work, whether short-term, long-term, or somewhere in between. She has over 25 years of industry experience and a CPA designation under her belt, which you'll all hear about during our conversation. Jen has supported everything from nimble startups to powerhouse Fortune 500 companies. What sets her apart is not just her deep knowledge of the space, but her commitment to transparency, open communication, clear expectations, and a refreshingly honest approach to recruiting that earns trust and delivers results. And full disclosure, Jen is also a longtime friend of mine, which makes today's conversation not only insightful, but also a ton of fun. All right, Jen, we're here. We're working outside of your comfort zone, and it's the best thing. Thanks for coming and joining me. For all of you listening, many of my guests are guests that I've been introduced to more recently and don't have a history with, but Jen and I go back about 10 years. We've seen a lot of life together, meeting when our girls were in TK. So I'm so excited to have you and to talk to you and to hear about how you're disrupting the recruiting world and creating vibes in the workplace through that. So thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. This is definitely a little bit outside of my comfort zone, but I've always loved you and getting to know you and see what you've done over these last 10 years that I've pushed people every day to do stuff they're not comfortable with. So I am leaning into that and giving this a try. So
Free season of life. There you go.
Yes.
So as I start out each episode, I just want to know from your perspective, because I think it gives a good foundation and understanding of kind of like where your mindset is as we talk about vibes. If you could explain to me how you define a vibe, whether it be personally, professionally, in the workplace, what strikes you when you hear the word vibe?
So interesting question. And to me, my work life and personal life kind of blend in one. So to me, a vibe is just who you are kind of at your core, what you embody. I think it could also be in terms of a business, like any company has their own vibe. Like what are their cores? What are their values? What are they here to do? And at the simplest form, like my vibe is I'm all about transparency and consistency. And I appreciate people's vibe who's different than mine. And I think for a vibe to be a good, positive vibe, it has to be a true who you are, right? There's some people who want to be a different vibe than what they're comfortable with. And I think that can come off in a different way. And I have noticed that the people that I connect with are what I feel to be, they encompass their vibe. They're not pretending to have a different vibe. That's who they are. And if we can learn a lot if we kind of step back and be like, that's who they are. Okay. Like where's our commonality?
Yeah. So it's interesting that you bring that up because I was listening to a podcast this morning, another podcast called Founders. And it's just this guy who reads a bunch of books and then it's like it's like almost my worst nightmare podcast because like I don't like talking to myself. I love talking to other people, which is like my purpose behind this podcast. And so, but he just talks in a microphone and he's brilliant at it. And he talks about these books that he reads and the deep research he does on these founders. And so this morning he was talking about these books he read on Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger. And he was talking about showing up as your authentic self and how if you clench your jaw when you're going to work, that you cannot outsmart the people who go to work who don't have a clenched jaw and are showing up as themselves, because those people will naturally be curious. They will ask the right questions because it's like so natural to them versus clenching their jaw and just trying to get through the day. So like that is super duper duper important.
So funny that you bring that up because first of all, I'm not well read and I want to be. I can't wait. I can't. Like I try.
Listen to the podcast. It's great. It's so good.
But lately, I drive to work with a smile, and there's no better feeling than to be like, oh my God, I'm happy where I'm going. And I wish that for all people, you know, and that doesn't mean every day of my life is great, but more days than not, I'll be driving to work and be like, why am I smiling? I don't care. I'm smiling. I'm happy. Like it's great.
And then you bring that energy around you, right? And then you're naturally going to ask these questions that are going to get you farther, get you the knowledge, get you the clients, get you the thing, whatever that thing is in front of you, because you're showing up as you and you're like joyful about it, right? Like you said, some days are really hard. But when you're kind of in that zone of genius or whatever you want to call it. But I thought that was like a really good example of showing up like going to work with a clenched jaw versus like an open heart and a smile on your face. It just like gives off a different vibe, right? A different energy that's going to like then attract others. Okay, so we're going to get to like the smile on your face and the journey that you're on right now, but I want to hear a little bit about your journey before that, right? Because we all have experiences and we all have life moments or defining moments that get us to where we're at. And I think it's really interesting to hear the stories of people. So not a rundown of your resume per se, but rather, you know, this journey that you've been on over the last 20, 25 years of creating something, leading people, building organizations, and, you know, the good, the bad, and the ugly of the vibes that you've either created or experienced and the impact that they've had. So talk us through that a little bit.
So bear with me because it starts when I was 8. But I love it. But as an 8-year-old, I always wanted to be a CPA. My uncle was a CPA. He was rich. He drove a Jag, and that's what I wanted. So my whole entire, and I luckily was good at math. So I went to U of A, the Harvard of the West, and thought I was really killing it. I was a good student until I started taking accounting classes. I literally got my first C in accounting, and all I've ever wanted to do my whole life was be an accountant. So that should have been a sign that maybe I was on the wrong path, but I kept at it because I'm very determined. If I said I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. I don't think I ever got better than a C. I got out of college. Then I'm like, I'm just going to take the CPA exam and then someone's going to hire me in public accounting. Failed that test 5 times, finally passed it, got my chance to be in public accounting. And I was horrible at it and I hated it, but I stuck with it for 2.5 years to get my license. Then I went to a recruiter looking for a job and they're like, what do you want to do? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm not really good at public accounting. And I didn't know what the industry was about. And she's like, I'm like, that sounds horrible. Like, that doesn't sound good. And she was like, hey, why don't you try this? I'm like, okay. So I went home, called my mom and dad. Literally my CPA license, which I worked my whole entire life for, was literally being mailed out to me. And my mom and dad are like, you're going to go do what? Like, I'm going to go get in the staffing industry. Like, that sounds like a great idea. I went to go work for a very big firm, got well trained in that. I didn't like big corporate America, had an opportunity to leave there and do a startup for another staffing company to focus on accounting and finance because I had that background. And I thought that would be fun. Like, it was sitting in a room like with nothing building is when I truly found out that that is absolutely what I love. Like I love the hunt. I love it's about helping people find jobs, but to get in and to build something was very fun to me. And then I don't remember why I do remember why Sarbanes-Oxley happened, and it was all the rage. So I went back to a big firm and killed it, but like it wasn't fun.
Okay, what made it not fun? I want to know a little bit more there. Like why wasn't it fun? Because there's something around that.
So for me, my it doesn't mean it's not fun for everybody, but I don't like to be big corporate America. To me is sometimes operating in a box. And to someone else, that might be comforting, right? They like rules, they like process, where I kind of like to wing it, like this podcast. I'm like, okay, I know it's doing that. I'm on premiere.
Your wild side was too much for a CPA.
Correct. I would get in trouble all the time, called it the communication corner. I was over budget on my hours. So that's why I thought staffing would be great. My mom's like, after she learned what I do, she's like, oh, all you do is talk to people. And I'm like, well, and lunch them. Yeah.
You're like, yeah, it's the best job ever.
Yeah. I do more than that. But so I just found that I like to be able to be on my own path. And I actually have a lot of respect for people who do well in corporate America. Like I'm envious of people who can give an eloquent speech and do big things with big data. That's just not my personality. And I've learned over time to I have other strengths too, right? Instead of focus on the things I can't do, I try to focus on the things that I'm good at and that I like. And I believe if you do what you like, the money or the success will come, right? Because success isn't always about the money.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that's really a really important thing to note, right? Is like, and I think I've shared this with you. Like I tell people I'm not for everybody. I was just having a dinner time conversation about this with some people the other day. Like I finally come into my own of knowing that like, it's okay to not be for everybody. And it's okay that not everybody likes me or wants to be my friend. Like that's okay. That takes a lot of time. It took a lot of time for me to come to that reality. The earlier you can know this in your career, the better that like your values need to somewhat match the values of the organization, right? So like if your values are, you like the structure, you kind of like, you like wearing a suit and tie, you like, there's certain things that you just like and desire, that there's organizations out there for you. I work with people day after day that I sit down and I have like this line that I say, we are at work far too much to hate what you're doing, or to hate the people that you work with, or the company that you work for. Like, you don't have to call it family because you usually don't fire family. But if you are working somewhere and you despise it, like change it for yourself, right? I know that about myself too. Like I'm an entrepreneur because I like the freedom and flexibility to kind of make decisions, create a podcast, do it on a whim, whatever. And that doesn't work for some organizations. Some it does, but I think like aligning your values, like with what brings out the best in you, is then going to make you like release that clench in your jaw, right? So you can smile again. Because I'm sure there was a point in your career where like, you were like, I'm talking to people, this is good. And then all of a sudden something changed. So maybe talk to us about like a defining moment for you where you were like, oh, this isn't really what I signed up for anymore. I got to make a switch, or I have to make it a different impact on people.
Well, I wish I could tell you I realized at the time when that moment was. I mean, there was one day that I just stopped waking up happy. And there's nothing worse than going to work when you don't want to go. And then I played it off in my mind like, oh, well, now I know how everyone else feels. Because I've been very blessed in my career that I've liked way more years than I haven't. So then I was like, oh, I love my job, da, 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 da. But then I came up, I'm like, oh, I don't like my job. But again, I'm powering through. Like I had been with this company 16, 17, 18 years. Like, I'm not going to give up, right? You are right. That work is not family, but it is a relationship. And sometimes, like for me, I'm like, I've worked with these people longer than I've been married, and I've been married a long time, you know? So you're like in marriage, like everything isn't always perfect, but you figure it out, you talk, you communicate, and you move on. And so I was grip holding like to make it work. And then a year and a half ago, I had the opportunity to part ways. And it was such a blessing. Like if you would have told me a year before that happened that I would be like, oh my God, what a blessing. But it was such a blessing to have had a successful career and be able to part ways and take time to truly think what I wanted to do next as a middle-aged woman and then be able to do it. It is such a gift, and I am taking hold of it and doing it how I want with the people that I want to and that they want to be with me. And it is so liberating. And when I talk to people, we're all very different, but we're all kind of the same. We have a lot of the same insecurities, all the same wants, right? And so to be able to share your story, and it's not comfortable, right? But for people to resonate with it and share their stories, and taking that year off of talking to people. And obviously I'm a talker, but I actually really like to listen. Like I love to listen to people's stories and learn from them. Like every conversation, like if I can take one thing from it and make it my own or use it some way, like they gave me like a gift, right? And the more we share with each other, the better off we all are. And I think that's what most people want. We all should want each other to succeed. The more you succeed, the more I succeed, right? Like it shouldn't be, that hard. And so I don't know. I got on a tangent. I didn't have that one tiny moment, but I had a time when I don't want to go to work.
Yeah, your job, you've grinded down all your back teeth. You have no more like, what do they call masseters or whatever to chew steak because like they're all grinded down.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So what do you think, or maybe right? That you woke up one day and you're like, I hate this. But I'm sure that that was happening long before the day you made that realization. So what do you think, or were there things that happened with your staff, the people you were leading, that you look back and you say, wow, like I may have shown up with a smile on my face, but I was like leaking out dissatisfaction all over the place. So like the vibe was then being changed within the organization because of the way you were, like your mindset or the way you were feeling.
Yes. So my prior company, I'd been there 18 years, almost 19 years. And when I started, we were maybe a $20-30 million company. And when I left, we were $1 billion company.
Oh, wow. That's an important distinction to make.
Yes. Yeah. So I think the big thing was, and I understand it. Like I'm a big girl. Like I get business. I get big $1 billion companies need policies and procedure. They need that. Right. And not that I was doing anything wrong, but the autonomy of being in my own office for so many years. I know Orange County. I know we all operated a little bit differently. And in the beginning, that's how we all operated. But when you get big, it's hard to have everybody operate differently. So I understand that. And I tried very hard to get on board, but I struggled when there were things or messages I had to deliver that like maybe I was doing, but I didn't want to be doing. Because in big corporate America, you need to implement the things because that's how the company is going to continue to grow, because you don't go from 1 billion to 4 billion by everyone doing something differently. So I 100% understand the business reasons, but that just wasn't what I signed up for 18 years ago. I was also 30 years old, right? Like, and as much as I'd like to tell you I've changed and evolved, like I haven't, like, and I like it. Like I'm 100% okay with it. And to your point, if you don't like it, that's okay. Cause some client will, some company will. And I think if changing jobs is very scary and very stressful, and I don't take light of that, but being in this industry for 25 years, that's what I'm used to dealing with. Like that's my job, is to find people's jobs. So I'm used to working with people in that capacity, but it is a very big deal and it's scary. But I do want people to know there is better out there. Like there is a place for you. And I get staying somewhere because you have to, right? We all have to do things for our family to pay our bills. And I have a lot of respect for that, hands down. But if you get that opportunity, take it. Just
yeah. I'm with you. I mean, I think that your experience of like that company, that distinction of 20 million to $1 billion is a good one because values change over time, right? So, and vibes change over time. So I think it's really important to note that it's okay that things change and that's okay that you have a changing opinion, right? Because organizations don't stay static. And when they change and you're like square peg, round hole, it's good to identify that and say, okay, well, my name isn't on the building. So they're not going to change for me, right? Like when my name's on the building, I can make that decision. But I used to tell people this in my corporate career all the time, like, your name isn't on the building. Like neither is mine. So like, fortunate or unfortunately, that's just the way it is, right? So you have to make a personal choice to either choose to conform and align because that's who you are and that's what your values are, or make a change and put your name on the building, right? Or find another organization that's at 20 million, in that $20 million spot that you can really build. And it can be a little bit more rogue and Wild West, right? That fits like what you're interested in. And not good or bad. It's just like values alignment.
Right. And when I first started in the talent solution space, I worked for the biggest privately held company. And I remember one of the directors telling us, hey, this is where the bus is going. You either get on or you get off. Like, and I have respect for it. Like, just say what it is. Like, you either get on and this is what we're doing, or stay off. Like, clear cut it.
Yeah. And I think some organizations now, when you talk about like values or vibe or anything like that, there are far too many that want to peanut butter spread and like appeal to everybody. And in fact, we were just talking to Reese, my daughter, about this last night, is like, it's almost that quote of like, stand for something or you'll fall for anything. But like being a chameleon doesn't get you anywhere, right? It just like there's dissatisfaction somewhere. But if organizations, and I have a few clients that really stand behind like what they believe in, what their values are. And sure, sometimes it's hard. Sometimes people join and then they are like, wait a minute, you're like exactly what you said you were. I guess I'm not that, right? Like the worst is when people join and they're like, you said you were this and you're really this. But if you said you were this and you show up as this, I mean, that's the best thing that can happen, right?
Right. Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So now you are disrupting the talent space, right? And you really have learned who you are. I mean, I have so many questions about like why you continued to be a CPA. So I was on the route for CPA too. I don't know if you ever knew that. And then I went to UC Santa Barbara and I was like, I took one econ class and I was like, and then I had to take it again because I was good at math. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to be a CPA. Like it seems like a respectable career. And then I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to change my major and I'm going to take some classes that, I don't know, maybe they're more interesting, but I'm certainly not going to go crunch numbers all day long. And mad respect to those who do, because we need you in our lives. But I want to talk to people.
Well, yeah. And in retrospect, I should have reported like you did. But I mean, good or bad, like when I say I'm going to do something, like I'm going to do it.
Watch out.
So there we are.
Okay, so now you're in a space and you have this life experience behind you, these other experiences and organizations, and you've created something pretty magical and different, right? So talk to me about like what you've created, what's new and different about it, and what the impact on the vibe to the leaders that you're engaging with or the organizations that you're engaging with, like how that will change things.
Okay. So this industry and we're just focusing on placing accounting and finance professionals, mostly in contract roles and doing direct hire. The industry has not changed in 75 years. The way that I did it 25 years ago, which was taught probably 25 years before that, we literally do the same thing. And it's like, why? Like all these other industries are getting disrupted. And what is it through? Pharmaceutical, transparent pricing. Our pricing is all over the place as an industry. And I mean, not to talk about like the government and systems, but like what systems are people using? Like it is hard to change systems. And there's so many systems out there that can do things faster and better, in my opinion. But sometimes the big companies, they can't change because they're too big and it's too expensive. And then the small guys, in my opinion, they don't have the money. So in my quest of not working last year, I talked to a lot of different people. And those are kind of the things that I was like, oh, how could I change this industry? And so my thing is all about transparency. And I don't want to get too technical in my industry, but like if you've ever looked for a job and worked with a recruiter, the candidate's complaint is no one ever gets back to me and I don't know where my resume went, right? So how can I alleviate that? I have a texting system. So if I meet with you, you're going to hear from me every week. You either respond, I'm available or not, and you stay on my active list. You want to call me in between, chat it up, call me. And those are little tweaks that like candidates are like, oh my God, like that is so great. So nothing that I'm doing is going to change the result, meaning we're still calling people and placing them. It's faster and it's more streamlined. And we've put in different systems for clients to search candidates so that they can go into our system and search their own. These candidates have been met. You know what their bill rate will be, where they'll drive versus right now someone calls and tells me what they need and I send them 2 people. What if it's the wrong 2 people? What if they want to see 5 people? So I think that maybe not people who've worked with me are going to love this, but literally people these days buy cars from their phone. So why are we asking for an industry that's been so, you got to call me? Like, why not just go into my database and search it and you can call me? But allowing people to do more self-serve in the talent solution space. And I'm not sure if people will gravitate towards that, but what they have been gravitating towards is the transparency. I'm like, I'll tell you whatever you want. Like, what do you want to know? And I've been doing this a long time. It sounds super simple, but people aren't doing it because people are trained differently, afraid of competition. I don't want people to see me as an we're on different teams playing a sport. At the end of the day, whoever gets it, let's go have a beer. Like, let's have fun. Because again, the more people succeed in my industry, the more successful I will be. I went from if I told you when you met me, when I was a public, I'm a CPA, you automatically assumed I was smart. You didn't know I sucked at my job, right? Oh, you're CPA. You're so smart. I tell people now I'm in the talent solutions space. They're like, oh, like you do that?
Oh yeah. It's like telling people I'm in HR. They're like, oh, I don't like HR. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm different. They're like, prove it. You don't like HR?
No.
That's why I'm in my space. I'm creating a different experience, right? Same idea is like, why does it have to be complicated? Why do you have to not like HR just because it's HR? Like, why does it have to be that way? I'm with you. Like, we have overcomplicated so many things in a business setting. I mean, personally too, right? We've just like and we've forgotten. I think Buffett and Charlie Munger have a book called like Uncommon Common Sense. And that's what this podcast that I was referring to earlier was talking about. And it's true. Like, we've just completely lost our marbles.
No, yeah.
Like, where are they and why are we doing the things that we're doing? And why are we overcomplicating something? Why are we being fearful of giving bill rate? I will tell you, being in HR, working with talent folks externally, like, it is like a cardinal sin to ask them what the bill rate is or what the markup is.
Right. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's like, why? Like, also I'm running a business on the other side. I need to plan for that and manage for that. Don't you want me to hire your people? Like, eventually I need to know some detail. Right.
And we're telling the candidates too. hey, you need $100 an hour. I have a cost and here's what we're going to build a client. Like that's it. If the client wants to pay less, maybe you take a few bucks less. I take a few bucks and the client pays a few bucks more. But if we can truly partner together and lay our cards all on the table, it would be a win-win for everybody because we all want the same thing. You need your project done. This person wants to work and this is my job. You know what I mean? So why are we dancing around trying to make an extra buck versus, hey, how can we get this deal done so that it can start faster and sooner and we can all move on?
Totally. Totally. Because those dances, then you lose trust. And then you lose, like, there's things that are lost in the dance of communication that if you're just like completely honest about it, it's like you can either sign up for it or not, but the intentions are very pure and clear.
Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes clients don't know what something's going to cost because they don't know the market. Like we are meeting candidates every week. We know what they need in terms of being paid, right? That's not a controller's job. They don't know. And so they might think they're asking for someone in the bill rate's 100, but it's actually 150. And they're like, oh my God. It's like, well, go into my system and see what $100 gets you because I could stick to someone that's $100, but you might think I'm lying, and I don't think people think we set out to do unintentional things, but accounting and finance people, they like facts and they like numbers. So if I could show them that this is what it is, I think that they would, understand or concede on maybe having to have a CPA license when sometimes you don't need one, right? Or going to their boss and being like, hey, this is what we need to do. Or how can we figure it out to find the person that we need?
Well, and just imagine this, right? Like, so you're creating this trust and transparency up front with the client, but then once the candidate, like that's going to translate to the candidate experience too, right? Because everything's been clear and upfront from the beginning. And so they go start working on this project and then there's no feelings, right? Like so it's like translating, like what you're doing then is translating to that person going on that project, which is creating a better vibe, which is creating, better impact. The ripple effect of like this small change that's just what everybody wanted is having like large impact kind of downstream. So that's really, really cool.
Yeah. And so you do bring up the one book that I actually did read, and I might have even read it twice.
There you go. You know what you like. That's it.
Is the compound effect. Like people underestimate the person who will come in and be consistent and do the little things because the little things add up and they make the biggest impact. And I know when I hear myself talk about disrupting it, the things that I'm doing are really small little changes that don't have a wow effect, but I know it will work because I'm a big believer in the small little things and the grind, the daily grind and it all, it makes a huge difference.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I tell my kids this all the time. I'm like, do the work other people don't want to do.
Yeah.
Over time, you'll get to do the awesome thing. Right? Because you're willing to like put in the work and grind it out. And sometimes it's not fun. If you're grinding on things that are like in your zone of genius, if you will, then it doesn't really matter because you're like, oh, I know the outcome is going to be something that I can look back and say, that's awesome. But yeah, I'm with you. Like show up and do the things other people won't do.
Yeah.
It has been my life's work. I mean, people do not want to be in HR, or if they do, you're like,
yeah.
Which it's fine. I'll show up and do the work other people don't want to do. It's fine.
Right. Because you like it.
I do.
Yeah.
I do. It's like most of my day is talking to people and just like helping them see it a different way or helping them solve a problem. Or, I mean, at the end of the day, sometimes my family is like, hello? I'm like, I'm just wiped out.
I know.
Like, I felt like I had a virtual couch all day long. I've done my therapy for the day and I can't do any more.
Right. Yes. I hear you on that one.
So this is a change not only for companies, right? And they are asking for a lot of this. Some they might not be asking for, but they're impressed by, I'll say. But like if you turn it internally to those that you're hiring or attracting, right? Like How has that transition been for some of them? Because if some of them have been trained in the traditional ways, yeah, maybe they're ready for something new, but it's like imparting your values and your way of thinking on others to make sure that they can kind of carry the message beyond you, right, to other organizations. So like, how have you been able to like select the right people and make sure that it's like the people to carry your message forward?
So right now I'm in the fun part of being a startup because you get to, and I've been around a long time, right? So I have relationships that are 20, 25 years deep. And I think in any industry, like the relationship in your network is everything, and making sure you constantly are cultivating it is things that I think people kind of forget about. And in this day and age, it's super easy to do, right? With LinkedIn or Facebook. And it doesn't have to be just social media, text here and there. So I think most startups, like, right, they gravitate to the people that they know who have a common vision or baseline of what things look like. So I'm lucky enough that the team I have right now, I mean, one guy I've known for, 20 years. So it has been fun to see people want to come work with me, right? Because you don't know. When you start something, you don't know who really is going to want to come.
You're like, I know I'm not for everyone, but I thought it was for you. And I guess I'm not.
Right. And that's fine too, right? Like we can all, I don't understand like when people leave companies, why friendships have to end. And I get it. Like, right. When you go to high school, you lose some of your friends that like, you do keep some. So like, why when we change jobs, does everything stop? Like, it's not like I just go work for a different company.
Right.
And some of it's out of sight, out of mind. And maybe you didn't really like that person and you had to be, which you should be nice to your coworkers and respectful. That's hands down given.
Make note.
Make sure to do that. But there's sometimes it's like, let's just all be, I'm not saying kumbaya, but like you never know. And I hate to use the word need. You never know what you might need from someone, whether it's an introduction. And especially now as we get older, like what if your kid needs a job? I've helped so many people. I'm happy to, right? Like there's so many great things about being older, like that way, the other nonsense. But if you keep that door open, you can reach out to anybody at any time. And I do think most people generally want to help, but some people don't know how to help. Like I love to help people, but I'm not the person who's going to innately know how to help you. But if someone comes to me and is like, hey, can you happily, what do you need me to do? Do you want me to XYZ? I'll do it. And I think that's how most people are.
Yeah. Okay. Speaking of network, okay. You and I met when our girls were 5, they're almost 16, which is wild. And then Natalie, who works on my team, was my intern, but you helped her find her first job out of college, which is incredible. And now she works for me. Talking about like cultivating your network. And it's not like we talk every single day or every single week, but it's like we always know each other's there for when we need something, when we need something or we need to bounce an idea or we need to talk about it. And then our girls played on the similar volleyball team. And like, it's just interesting, the intersection of life and how that has happened. And I think that's a great example of like, once our girls didn't go to school together, which was like 2nd grade, and now they're going to be sophomores in high school. Like, so it's like we've known each other longer than they ever went to school together, right? But it's a very interesting thing I was reflecting on of like how our friendship has evolved over time. And then you have those friends. So I have a friend and he's coined this term, so it's not my original term, but then you have those people in your network or friends, so to speak, that are like ask holes. Have you heard that term before? So all they do is they don't cultivate their network or their connections. All they do every time you see their name is they're asking you for something. And you're just like, I can't. Like all they do is ask.
Right.
And you're like, so that isn't cultivating your network, people. So it's like, just because you're friends on LinkedIn does not mean you can just reach out to me every time you need something. There's that like you were talking about, like the relational networking piece and the relational connections are just invaluable. Is I'm with you. And that then you can kind of set yourself up, whether you're starting up your own company or you're starting up a team within a company, those relationships you can go back to every single time.
Oh yeah. And it's amazing when you are kind of like, oh, like, oh God, are we tied or not? And I'm not asking for anything major, and how fast people will get back to you and how they want to help. And it's because I've known them. I can't say it enough. You can't underestimate the value of a relationship. And I don't want to use the word feel bad for the younger generation who missed out on having to do that. And some of it is the awkward water cooler talk when the dude or gal that you don't really like gets some water and you got to sit and talk to him because you don't like that silence. And then you feel like, hey, I like Bonnie. Like I would have never known I like Bonnie, right? Or whatever. But
yeah. Because so many judgments are made now over like what people post on social media, right? So yeah. And I agree with this, like hybrid, remote, in office, right? There's a lot of kind of missed water cooler talk, but I think organizations can make it a point to create situations where water cooler talk can happen more often than not, even if it's like a Slack channel, water cooler talk, right? Or like creating space in your day to just pick up the phone. I mean, that goes for internal employees that you have. It goes for clients that you have. I'm sure you feel that too. Like I enjoy space in my day because I actually am probably the most productive in the things that I bring value to when I'm not just like stacked in a day with meetings.
Right. Oh, for sure.
Okay. So as we kind of like wrap up our conversation, because I think you and I, we know this because we've gotten coffee many times, could talk for hours. What, as you start to think about and reflect on like the things that you've done, the things that you've loved, the things that you've hated, the new environment that you're creating for clients and employees alike, if the people listening could walk away with one thing that they could go do now to just start improving the vibe in their workplace, the vibe for their team, for their personal life, right? Like, because all of these things do start to blend together and integrate together. In your opinion, based on your experience, what is that one thing you suggest to those listening to just go do now?
Okay. So it's funny that we started the cast or whatever the talk with the clenched jaw, right? Like starting your day on a positive note can change the whole trajectory of your day, your team's day. So one thing I like to do, and my dad taught me this and his mom taught him that, is before you get out of bed, think of 3 things that you're looking forward to that day. And they don't have to be big things. Like for him, and me and my dad are very regimented, or my dad was, bless his heart, regimented people, right? He on Wednesdays talk to his mom. He on every Wednesday doesn't have to be something new. If you're struggling, like just find something that you're looking forward to, and it will change. I don't know, that's going to change your whole life, but I do think that's the day for positivity and being grateful. And I know we all go through hard times, but even during the hardest times, like if you can try, even if you just get one, I think people will realize it can change your mindset. And I'm a big believer in mindset. I try to teach my teams that. I try to teach my kids that. It changes everything. And to be able to learn from every setback, and setbacks are fun, but what good came out of it, it just changes your whole vibe for the day. It's super easy to do.
Yeah. And it's easy to get in that bad mindset too, right? Like if there's one word, it's like I have to versus I get to. Like that for me was a big one too. Like I have to take my kids to school versus I get to take my kids to school, right? Like one word can change so much. So I'm with you. Like start the day out with positive intent and what you're looking forward to and see what happens. And just try it for a week. Like nothing's permanent. If you feel like, this is stupid and it's lame, I mean, I would probably argue with you, but also then try something else. There's something out there for everyone.
Right. Whatever makes you happy, do that.
I know. We don't need to be miserable, people.
No, it's too short.
It really, really is.
Yeah.
Well, Jen, thank you for taking the time, for sharing your story, for being you. And cheers to many more.
Cheers. Thank you.
What a conversation. Huge thanks to Jen for sharing her wisdom, story, and of course, her vibe. From her journey as a CPA, despite her knowing very early on this likely wasn't a long-term career choice that she was fond of, to becoming a bold disruptor in the recruiting world, Jen reminded us that success isn't just about climbing the ladder. It's about staying true to who you are, whether it's how you show up for your team, how you choose your clients, or how you start your day. It all adds up to the vibe you bring into the world. And some of the big takeaways from today, at least for me, your vibe is who you are at your core. Authenticity and alignment matter more than titles. Relationships and transparency go a long, long way. And sometimes the smallest mindset shifts can make the biggest difference. So with that, stay curious, stay courageous, and keep vibing, my friends. If this episode inspired you and you want to see how you can take the next step to creating a better vibe within your organization, I'd love for you to download our complimentary 75 Vibes worksheet. This is a simple tool to create a habit and mindset around creating great vibes in work and life. The best part, it's simple and it works.